Hello and welcome to the KB6. My name's Glenn. Thank you for joining me on this short breathwork series. Today what we're going to cover briefly is when you should be breathing with the Turkish Get Up. Now the Turkish Get Up is obviously a very dynamic move with a lot of positions, and depending on the weight that you're using, it can really stress the body in very different ways. For example, if you're using a light weight for Turkish Get Ups and doing volume, it becomes a test of endurance. And if it's a very heavy weight that you're doing for very low volume, it becomes a test of strength and grinding things out. So the breathing might differ through that spectrum of what you're actually requiring your body to do throughout the Turkish Get Up movement. However, the bracing or points at which you don't breathe become more important the heavier the weight gets. Now here's a little test for you to try. Can you brace your trunk just enough that you could feel like you could take a soft punch? You should be able to talk whilst maintaining this level of bracing, but you can pat yourself in the stomach as you're talking to test or teach how to maintain this level of tension through your trunk. It's similar to the sort of tension you'll have through your trunk if you're resisting the urge to cough or beginning that sensation of throwing up. A lot of the time when I'm working with clients, I will ask them to go, ugh, because making that noise engages your transverse abdominal muscles. And that begins that stitching feeling through your trunk and teaches how to brace in a very visceral way that we all know. If you've ever thrown up, you know that initial sensation of ugh. So if you can make that noise, you can brace through your TVAs, your transverse abdominals. Now here's where that becomes important. When you're doing light Turkish get-ups, the more you breathe, the better. You could breathe once at the bottom, breathe out at the top, breathe in at the top and breathe out at the bottom. Or you could breathe around 15 times through that process and it would still be correct. But when it comes to Turkish get-ups with progressively heavier and heavier kettlebells, something getting closer to perhaps doing the Turkish get-up with the Beast, a 48 kilogram kettlebell, you need to maintain bracing tension as you move and use the positions where you're static to reload your breath. So as an example, from the bottom position of the Turkish get-up, as you press that weight ahead, up onto your elbow, up onto your hand, you get the idea. Each position where you're static and stable, exhale hard. The in-breath will take care of itself and re-establish that bracing feeling before you then move into the next sequence of the position for the Turkish get-up. The lighter the weight, the less bracing has a role to play, but it's still an important lesson that you should keep in your back pocket for any of your heavier lifts, for anything overhead, and it's a skill that transfers into the gym when you're doing things like heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, heavy presses, heavy benches. It's a useful lesson. But the more you breathe with the Turkish Get Up, the better for light weights, and your bracing positions for heavier weights through the Turkish Get Up become more important. By all means, you should be practicing that bracing technique with a lighter weight so that when you get to the heavier loads, it's not something that you're having to consciously go through, but is a subconscious process that you breathe, brace, move, brace, move, and you get the idea. You can't breathe too much, but you can breathe in the wrong place. When you're working with a heavy kettlebell, you do not want to lose tension as you're moving through a position. You want to be braced as you move, find that nice static position, reload the breath, re-tense the bracing position or re-engage that trunk bracing before you then move and reset again. I hope that's been helpful. If it has, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this with someone you know that could do with the coaching and the lessons. And otherwise, I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for joining me. I've been Glenn. This is the KB6. Cheers.